Well, it's that time again. Who is going to be crowned the 2023 champions of Africa for the Ivory Coast edition? Listen, this is the third Afcon predictions I've done on this channel. They've both gone very differently from an Algeria perspective. The first one, we won in Egypt. The second one, we pretty much came last in Cameroon. How are we going to fare in Cote d'Ivoire this time around? So I'm going to take you through my predictions for the competition, and when you see the knockout stages and the quarterfinals, this is how the tournament will pan out as per the specifications in the match schedule. So this is quite a likely route forward after the group stages. So it'll be interesting to get your takes in the comments down below. Following on from those World Cup qualifiers, the opening two, I have tweaked one or two things from the group predictions, but overall, let's see if you agree with me. This is difficult because, of course, I'd love Algeria to win it, and I'm incredibly biased, but I've tried to pick these predictions with my head and not my heart. So disclaimer, I don't think Algeria will win the tournament. Disclaimer, but watch on to see why I've made that decision. So, Group A is going to be Ivory Coast winning the group at home. I did think Nigeria had a chance, but they couldn't even beat Lesotho, for God's sake. They were poor. Their opening two World Cup qualifiers, Nigeria, they drew both the games, no wins there. The manager might even change from the time you're watching this to the start of the tournament. So Ivory Coast to come first. At home, of course, huge favourites. They'll face Guinea-Bissau in the opener, who I think will come last, unfortunately, once again. Guinea-Bissau keep getting to Afcon, the fourth time on the spin, but can't seem to get out of the group. Equatorial Guinea won both of their opening World Cup qualifiers, and you only have to ask Algerians about Equatorial Guinea. So I think they'll come third, and I have got Equatorial Guinea as one of the teams to advance as one of the four third place finishers, because 4 out of these 6 groups will have a third place team advancing. Group B, I think is quite straightforward. Egypt to come top. I think Egypt will go very deep into this tournament. Ghana to come second, and they're lucky they've only got Mozambique and Cape Verde because they've just lost to Comoros. So Ghana, again, another team that from now till the tournament starting could quite easily change their manager. Mozambique to come third and Cape Verde to come fourth, but I think neither of those sides will win a game. So I can't see a third place advancing from Group B. So just Egypt in first and Ghana in second. Group C, this is the group of death. I feel for Gambia, they're going to come last. And I think even the most Gambian of Gambians will know they're going to come last because they've got Guinea, Cameroon and Senegal. So Senegal top, Cameroon in second. But what is going on with Onana? I mean, he got sent home from the World Cup, remember? He had an unbelievable game in Bleeder. Then Song sent him home after the first World Cup game. Ondoa played the last game in goal for Cameroon because Onana had a slight knock. Will he go, won't he go? Let's find out. But he's got a lot of club issues at the moment, Onana. Either way, Cameroon second. Guinea just lost to Botswana, but with Girassi, and they should beat Gambia. Guinea to come third and go through as a third place team. But even for Guinea to play Senegal and Cameroon, that is a tough group. Senegal, the reigning champions, of course, I got them to win Group C. Group D is our group. We've got to win this. Now let's talk a little bit about this. We're based in Bouake. We have a good pitch. If we win the group, we play a team that comes third in the last 16. There's only 3 groups we can play a team from if we come top. So we can't play any old third place finisher. You'll see in a minute who I think we are going to be playing in the last 16. Burkina Faso second, Angola third, and Mauritania in last place. They're both not great. Angola have got a lot of off-the-field issues. Some players haven't been paid. They just drew to Mauritius, who are a beach resort. So I think both Angola and Mauritania won't advance as a third-place team. So just Algeria and Faso to come out of D. Group E is a low-key tough group. Mali are going to win this group, I think. Even though Tunisia were the pot 1 team, I think South Africa are going to come second. And not many people might see this. I think Tunisia will come in 3rd spot. They'll still go through, as they did last time in the round. Didn't they come 3rd in the last Afcon group, and then they went through as a 3rd place team, and then they even won the knockout game against Nigeria, so it's not a bad thing. It's a tough group. I've just got Mali in top, South Africa in second. I hope Lyle Foster makes that, but of course he's off at the moment with mental health issues. At Burnley, Namibia in last. So Mali to come top, South Africa to come second, Tunisia to come third, but all three of those teams will go through. And then Group F, it could be a 9-pointer for Morocco. I think they'll come top with quite some ease. Are we going to see Brahim Diaz at this competition? DR Congo in second, and Zambia in third. I think again, those three teams will go through. I think Zambia in third will go through as a third place finisher. Tanzania could get no points out of this. I've got them to come bottom. So those are the 16 sides I think will advance from the group stage. There's nothing outrageous in terms of the teams that are going out in the group stage. This is how it should pan out. There'll always be a shock. You know, last time, unfortunately, it was us and Ghana. But let's get into the nitty-gritty. This is what people are interested in. How does these group finishes and these third-place teams affect the knockout stages? So Ivory Coast, despite winning their group, would have to play the third place in C. And, of course, that's Guinea and could even be Senegal and Cameroon. So Guinea-Ivory Coast is a good game. But again, that home advantage for Ivory Coast. I've got Ivory Coast to beat Guinea in the last 16. Egypt winning Group B would face Equatorial Guinea. And I think Egypt would beat Equatorial Guinea. Senegal would play Zambia. And I think that would be a straightforward win for Senegal. Now, because I've put Tunisia in the third place, that would mean if we won the group, I have, from this method, we would play Tunisia in the last 16, which would be quite an extraordinary game. And it's not easy for Tunisia, because even if a lot of people might have Mali first, Tunisia second. If Tunisia came second, they'd probably play Morocco. They'll have to play the winner from F. So if Tunisia don't win that group, they're looking at like us or Morocco in the last 16. Doesn't really matter, because either way, I think we both beat them. So Algeria to beat Tunisia. Of course, the teams met in a friendly earlier this year. Morocco would face South Africa. Like I said, it would be Tunisia if you've got them in second. But despite the fact that South Africa recently beat Morocco, I've got Morocco to beat South Africa in this, so I've got Morocco advancing to the quarterfinals, beating South Africa. Mali, Burkina Faso is a close game, but I've got Mali to edge it this time. Burkina Faso, of course, semi-finalists in the last edition. Nigeria, Cameroon, a blockbuster. It happened in 2019 as well. Both sides not at their best. I've actually got, at the moment, Nigeria to lose to Cameroon. If Anana has a good game and Osimhen's not fit, then Nigeria will be crashing out. And I think even Nigerians would say that. But that's a 50-50 game. In a one-off game, Nigeria could beat them. But form-wise, Nigeria have been shocking. So I've got Nigeria to lose to Cameroon. And I've got Ghana to go out in the last 16 as well, to DR Congo. I think the DR Congo team's getting stronger. You might see players like Wan-Bissaka enter the fold. And the way Ghana are going, a complete, absolute shambles. Wouldn't even be a shock to me if DR Congo beat Ghana, because I'm expecting it. So I've got DR Congo advancing to the quarter-final stages. So this is where it gets tricky. It's been quite straightforward for Algeria at this moment in time. We'd have to play the host like this. The way I've got it, we have to play the host in the quarterfinals. I don't think we're going to beat Ivory Coast, particularly because it is in Ivory Coast. Not because we're bad or we're not good enough. We've just shown we've just gone toe-to-toe with Egypt, gone toe-to-toe with Senegal in Dakar. To go to Ivory Coast in the quarterfinal in their backyard, and that would probably be in Abidjan, so we'd have to move ground. Ivory Coast would already be there. That'll be tough as well. I can't see it. I can't see anyone beating Ivory Coast in Ivory Coast at the moment. With the team they have, they smacked Seychelles recently by 9. They've got, look at the players they've got coming in: Adingra, Zaha, Cornet not even getting in the squad. They've got so many options, and plus players they might add to the fold as well. Maybe a bit suspect at the back, but we'll see. We know Algeria, Ivory Coast, Afcon quarterfinals always seem to happen. They literally seem to happen every time. Remember recently, even in the group stage recently, we played them and lost. Beat them on penalties before that. Before that, we lost 3-1 when they won the whole thing. Before that, we beat them 3-2 in extra time in 2010. It always seems to happen, but it's in Abidjan. And as much as I'd love us to win, I can't see anyone winning that tie. So unfortunately, I'm going to have to say that Ivory Coast will eliminate Algeria at the quarter-final stage, as per my predictions. I really hope I'm wrong about that. DR Congo, Cameroon. Well, I just back DR Congo to beat Cameroon. I do. I don't think Cameroon are that good. Lots of off-the-field issues, but that'll be cracks papered over by the fact that Cameroon reached the quarters. They failed last time out. They should have won it because they were at home. They didn't. Egypt did a job on them on penalties. I'm going to say there's always one sort of dark horse team that gets quite far. I think DR Congo can beat Cameroon. If they're beating Ghana, they can beat Cameroon. So I've got them to advance. Watch Simon Banza at Braga. This guy's a machine. Mali, Senegal's a great West African derby, but Senegal, I think, would do them in 90 minutes. So Senegal, again, into the semi-finals. The last two finals have featured Senegal, remember that. And then Egypt, Morocco, which was also a quarter-final last time. Egypt did a job on them. I think Egypt will do a job on them again, and that will make it 50 plus years no Afcon for Morocco. But I do think they've got one eye on the next one at home, which they'll look to win for sure and end that trophy drought. So Egypt beating Morocco to advance to the semi-finals. And then your two semi-finals, Ivory Coast, Egypt. But if Ivory Coast are beating us at home, they're certainly beating Egypt at home. But what a semi-final that would be. So Ivory Coast to beat Egypt and make the final. Senegal to beat Congo and make the final. Egypt to beat Congo in the third place and Egypt to get third. Senegal Ivory Coast final in Abidjan in Ivory Coast. Magic System doing the closing ceremony. What an occasion. Drogba hands over the trophy to Ivory Coast and Aurier lifts it, and Ivory Coast will beat Senegal in Abidjan and win it on home turf. So I've got Ivory Coast to win Afcon 2023. Kelsa Breeze is there, but that's the way I have it panned out. Listen, it's an unbelievable chance for them to win it. They've got one of the best teams. They've got to bounce back. Remember the World Cup qualifiers? They didn't even get to the playoff stage. They actually lost to Cameroon before Cameroon got Algeria. If we didn't get Cameroon, we would have got Ivory Coast. Didn't even get to that. The last Afcon, even though they beat us in Douala, they lost in the last 16, didn't they, to Egypt? So they've got to bounce back here. I think if they don't win it, Ivory Coast will be disappointed. The tough game for them, look, they've got Algeria, Egypt, Senegal in the three key knockout games. For me, what does it for them is the home advantage, because if Ivory Coast, Algeria is in a neutral venue, like in Egypt, I think we beat them. Ivory Coast played Egypt in a neutral venue, like they did last time. Egypt beat them, and Ivory Coast, Senegal. I don't think Senegal would lose to Ivory Coast as well. But Ivory Coast haven't. The thing that might go against them is they haven't played a big game for a while. Like I said, they missed those Qatari World Cup playoffs. They weren't there. The last Afcon, they were pretty hopeless. They drew to Sierra Leone, was it, as well? They're missing big game experience. Once they get their confidence, and particularly if they beat Nigeria in the group, that'll be key. If they beat Guinea in the last 16, that'll be key, and they'll use that home momentum. They'll have sold-out games. A lot of teams might have empty stadiums, but Senegal, 3 finals in 3 Afcons is quite impressive. Algeria against the quarters is not a disaster if they lose to Ivory Coast, but it's like when England went out in the World Cup, they lost to France in the quarterfinals. It was like, okay, played well, but it was France. I think it might be a similar feeling here. Look, anything can happen in football. We'll see what happens. You've got to remember other conditions, heat, stadiums, officials, referees, that sort of thing will come into play. The home advantage, the VAR in Africa will be back, but I've got Ivory Coast to win the whole thing. So I think I've been fair. I think I've been very, very fair. I could have just come on in and said we're going to win it. I did that last time. Didn't go well. So I'll know in the comments who's going to win it. And listen, I'd love us to beat the Ivorians. I really hope so. Of course, it could be Nigeria in that situation. If they won the Group A and we see Nigeria in the quarterfinals, I think we could easily do them. Well, maybe not easily, but it's just how it pans out. And the way I've got it, I have to have Ivory Coast as the winners. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Drop a like. Subscribe if you haven't. I'll see you next time.